This feels odd with somebody sitting here while I do it.
I was like, why do I feel eyes on me?
Okay, no, you're okay. It just feels odd. Um, welcome back, family. And if it's your first time here, welcome home. You guys know I recently retired, and I tell you, there's so much more to think about than just saving money for retirement. What really surprised me were these 8 things that I will talk about today that you really should consider buying before you retire. Otherwise, they can really drain your retirement income if you're not prepared. In this video, I'll share with you what I've learned about these 8 purchases and why they matter, and how planning for them ahead of time can make a huge difference, not only financially, but also in how much you enjoy your retirement years. If you're nearing retirement or just starting to plan, this video will give you practical insight to help you avoid unnecessary stress and make the most of your hard-earned savings. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you know who's planning for retirement. So in no particular order, let's get started. The first thing that I have on the list that you should do in preparation for your retirement is to buy a home. Now, this applies to those who are younger and are forward looking, planning for retirement. The goal is to have a home paid off before you retire. A mortgage payment will take a huge chunk out of your retirement earnings. Unless you are a person who loves to camp and plan on purchasing a camper home, selling most of your possessions, and spending your retirement years traveling, then I think you fit into this category. And I encourage you to make purchasing a home part of your retirement planning. Although buying a home is difficult, extremely costly, and can feel like a massive financial sacrifice, it can be accomplished with planning and discipline and prayer. You will need to struggle for a while, but eventually you will develop spending habits and a lifestyle that will begin to feel normal. While owning a home does come with its own list of expenses, like maintenance, repairs, there's property taxes and home insurance. But even with all of that, I feel, in my opinion, renting is just not a good idea. It's a much bigger expense than the list of expenses that come along with owning your own home. Paying rent is costly, and most important to me, renting is very unpredictable. Your rent is going to increase annually, especially where I live. And these aren't small increases. And can you imagine being 60, 70, 80 years old, having to find somewhere to live? That happened to one of my neighbors. We were talking, and they told me that the owner asked them to move. Now, this was near the end of the year. So instead of them spending time preparing for Christmas and gifts and gathering together with family, they had to find somewhere to live. They had to find a new place to live. So renting, in my opinion, is too unpredictable. The key is to purchase a home that you can afford. Now, all of them are going to be expensive, and all of them are going to hurt when you first make your purchase. But I feel that sometimes we say we can't afford a home, but we really aren't tracking where our money is really going. And it's much better to make that financial sacrifice when you're young than to wait until you're older, retired, and living on a fixed income. Now, I know that some truly cannot afford to purchase a home. And that's okay. You keep on grinding. Been there, done that. But if you go to Starbucks, yeah, if you go to Starbucks 3 or 4 times a week, if you eat out for lunch and then you purchase dinner pretty much every night, I'm just saying, what's your priority here? That's all. And that leads me to item number 2 on my list. And that is tackle home repairs and decluttering. Home improvements and repairs are expensive. A new roof, new HVAC, kitchen remodel, window replacements or upgrades. These are things you should consider a year or two out from retirement. You're going to be spending a lot of time at home after you're done traveling. And you want your surroundings to be nice and comfortable. You don't want things to be in a degraded condition after you retire, which means now you have to figure out how to make those repairs on your fixed income. And we know those repairs are not cheap. Other things that you should consider are things like new appliances, new mattresses for your bed, even an adjustable bed. Perhaps you have health issues or something, and an adjustable bed might make it, sleeping more comfortable for you. So that may be something you want to consider. And I list decluttering as an expense because either you will have someone come in to help you, or at the very least, you're going to need to pay someone to haul away your refuse to the dump, to some recycling center or something like that. I know in my area, it can be pretty costly to hire someone to take away your junk and your garbage. So that is included as an expense. The days of passing down wedding dresses and family heirlooms are pretty much over. Most people want their own stuff. They prefer a minimalist decor, or they just simply don't have anywhere to put the stuff. Storage spaces are expensive, and they simply don't have anywhere to put the stuff. So make it easier for your loved ones and declutter, and also for yourself. Once you retire and you're spending time at home, then you want your environment to be comfortable and clean and free of all that clutter and stuff, and just things in your home that you really don't use, and you're just keeping it just because, or it has a sentimental value for you. But the truth is, we cannot keep everything that has a sentimental value, and getting rid of it doesn't mean that the sentiment is not still there. We just take it with us in our hearts and our memories. So it's okay. It's okay to get rid of some of that old stuff. Item number 3, finish health, vision, and dental work while you still have your employer's health insurance. If you don't have a pension plan that will provide you with health insurance coverage, you'll most likely be dependent on Medicare. If you are relying on Medicare, you should consider having all major work completed before you retire. And even if you have coverage through your pension plan, make sure that coverage at least equals what you already have. Because sometimes the coverages even through pension plans, it doesn't match what you have. And so you may be depending on having a certain amount of coverage for things, only to find out that you don't, and then that's money out of your pocket to have that procedure or purchase whatever the medical items are. That would be money out of your pocket. So just look into that. So things like bridges, implants, hearing aids, cataract surgeries, make sure you take care of all those types of things before you retire. It's also a good idea to have that physical that you've been putting off. It's the perfect time to have your blood work done, to make sure you're in good health, and also to share with the doctor some of the things you may have been feeling, pains and aches and just an overall feeling of unwellness. Now's the time to go see the doctor about those things. Now, when it comes to Medicare, there's different parts of Medicare. Medicare A is generally the free part of Medicare. Part A only covers hospitalization and short-term skilled nursing facilities. Part B, which is medical insurance, covers doctor visits, vaccines, x-rays, medical equipment, things like that. But it requires you to pay a premium. I am looking at my notes if you guys see me glancing down. So that premium will come out of your fixed retirement income. Now, if you're taking note as I'm going down this list of items, and just begin to add up all of the things that you will be paying out of that fixed income, I think you'll begin to see that it really is a good idea to plan for a lot of these things and pre-purchase as many as you can so that your income once you retire will be available for you to really enjoy life and not have to stress about money all the time. Some things will invariably come up. We can't help that. But we can also be responsible enough to plan as much as we possibly can ahead of time. Your doctor visits, vaccines, x-rays. If you're like me and you need to wear glasses, or you may need hearing aids, or prescription drugs, if you are, as we get older, we tend to develop certain conditions that just comes along with getting older. Even people who remain active and fit and eat well, and they have a genetic history in their family of certain things. And as conscientious as they are, they still may develop certain issues that require medication, prescription drugs. So it's important that we note that when it comes to Medicare, coverage for all of those things are separate plans. We have to pay for those plans, and each plan has its own costs associated. The bottom line here is make sure that you take care of health issues before you retire. Make sure that you understand the medical coverage that your employer will provide through your pension plan before you retire. Make sure you understand exactly what your coverage is going to be once you retire. The fourth item on my list, consider life insurance. Strongly consider life insurance. Even a small policy will help tremendously. It might not allow your family to all go out and buy new cars. Yeah, we know that happens. But they will be able to cover your burial expenses without having to go create a GoFundMe page. And this is no shade. I'm just speaking reality. As they say, the score is 1-for-1. As surely as we're born, we're each appointed a day that we must transition. And when we see family members forced to create GoFundMe pages, that tells us that that person did not prepare for this inevitable event. For those who are a bit better off financially, look into a long-term care policy. For those who are struggling a bit, if you can afford even a $10,000 to $15,000 policy, it's much better than nothing. Also, as a side note, for those who are considering a will as a vehicle to assign ownership of your possessions after you're gone, look into the benefits of a trust instead. I'm not an attorney. I do have some thoughts about it. If you would like me to talk about on another video, I will. But I strongly suggest that if you're depending solely on a will to transfer ownership of your possessions to your family, your loved ones, look into the benefits of a trust instead. You may find that a will does not provide the financial protection for your loved ones that you think it will. Number 5, gym membership or home workout equipment or both. Invest in your health. Strength training is important as we get older. It preserves muscle mass, which keeps us stronger longer and helps prevent falls, and it helps osteoporosis and fractures when we do fall. It can help with arthritis, mental health, cognitive functioning, and it's been said that it may reduce the risk of dementia. Always check with your doctor or your physician before starting any exercise to make sure that it's safe for you. Because as much as we want you to exercise, more importantly, we want you to be safe. Take care of yourself. Number 6, purchase a dependable car. If you have a car that's fairly new, in very good shape, you have no problems, then this number 6 item is not for you. But if you have a much older car and you're kind of playing and toying with the idea that you may need a new car or want a new car, either one, because both are fine, consider making that purchase in advance of your retirement, well enough in advance that you will be able to pay that car off before you retire. Then you'll retire with a fairly new car or a newer car than what you had. Not having a car note is huge in retirement. Having a car note is probably going to be your second largest expense. Rent or mortgage, from not having purchased that house a long time ago, is going to be your first. Once again, as we go through the list, add these things up and then think about what your income will be when you retire and see how these expenses are going to line up with your expected or hoped for retirement income. Number 7, prepay bucket list expenses. Book those trips. I think that this is one of the most fun things that you can plan for as you plan for your retirement. And I think that as you plan for doing things like this, it can also be helpful for those who are on the fence about whether they should retire or not. Because let's face it, when you retire, like I said, I'm recently retired, there's a loss. There's a feeling of loss. But when you do things like fun things like, making your bucket list and beginning to prepay for some of these things, and it begins to give you a sense of excitement and hopeful, projections towards the future of exciting things that you're going to do, exciting places you're going to go, and things like that. So I really like number 7, which is prepaying for the bucket list expenses. For one thing, you know that it's going to be on your calendar. If you prepay for it, it's on your calendar. It's going to happen, foreseeing anything unfortunate, which we can't control. So we always plan with a hopeful outlook. And the second thing is, when you pre-plan and prepay, generally everything that you do is going to be cheaper. If you want to take a trip, it's much cheaper to purchase your tickets, your hotel rooms, your tours, whatever it is, in advance. Much cheaper. So I really like number 7. As a matter of fact, one of the things that used to be on my bucket list was to fly first class. I didn't care if it was a 45-minute flight. I just wanted to know what it felt like to be handed the entire basket on the plane and told, yes, you can have 2 bags of chips and some cookies. Yes, and a banana, and you get the whole can of soda. By the way, my daughter, Adriana, actually crossed that item off my bucket list, and I will always treasure that memory. We're at number 8, our final item on the list, and that is hobby and passions. Invest in what you need that will enable you to engage in your hobbies and passions. In my opinion, this item is one of the primary reasons people do not retire, although they're financially stable, more than financially stable. They are able to retire. They're still in good health, strong, bodied, and they just will not quit working. And as I have spoken to people, it generally comes down to, what would I do if I don't come to work? Having a hobby, I think, can make the difference, a huge difference, between staying at work because you feel you have, what else am I going to do? And be excited to leave work because you're so excited that you'll be able to spend time pursuing that hobby. Hobbies help us to form new relationships and build new friendships. And these are the things that fall into when we retire that helps us make our transition much smoother. And it's only so much cleaning out your garage, cleaning out your closet you're going to do. So only so much yard work you're going to do. But when you go golfing and you're out on the golf course and you're interacting with your golfing buddies, and you still get that you used to get from being at work. You can still get that interaction, that social interaction through your hobbies. And so it's much better. Let's say I mentioned on the golf course. So if you want to take up golfing or you already golf, well, buy a new set of clubs, right? Golf clubs are not cheap. So buy that new set of clubs before you retire so that you go out on the course with your shiny new golf clubs. So those are my suggestions. Some may apply to you and some may not. But no matter what your path looks like, planning ahead can place you ahead of the game financially. That is for sure. So that you will have the freedom in retirement to focus on what matters and do what you want to do so that you'll be able to take advantage of some of the best years of your life. And I'm here to vouch for that. So that's all I have for y'all today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and come on back to see me now.